vibe. I can feel the vibe. I can feel the vibe. Everything's alright. I can feel the vibe. I can feel the vibe. I can feel the vibe. Everything's alright.
Okay, so we were talking about Piaget. We were talking about how a child develops according to cognitive development or cognitive constructivism. Okay, to recap a bit, we spoke about cognitive constructivism. What highlights the most of cognitive constructivism is the fact that he talks about equilibration, schema adaptation, assimilation, accommodation. That is when the child has gotten into the world of understanding, of development. That is when the child now is introduced to how they learn. It is moving from the unknown to the known. Okay, so when we are looking according to Piaget, when we are looking at equilibration, it is when you balance what you don't know and you bring it to what you do know. And then assimilation, it is when you try to turn what you don't know into what you do know. And the accommodation is when you accommodate information you already know and you adapt it now. That's when adaptation comes in with what you don't know. So when you're looking at this, you're talking about assimilation and accommodation being brought together through adaptation, and it gives birth to equilibration. Okay, now Vygotsky disagrees. He says that a child cannot learn through an internalized sense of learning. A child needs an external environment. A child needs people outside of the environment to teach a child how to talk, how to walk, to teach a child how this tastes like, what it is called, and so on and so forth. So when we're looking at Vygotsky, he does not pay much emphasis on stages. I suppose he believes that each child develops according to their own pace and their own environment. Each and every child is born in a different environment. Therefore, those different environments comprise of different types of cognitive development for each and every child, because society is not the same, because the social context of the child is not the same. Okay, so now when we're looking at Vygotsky, we can say that there are similarities between him and Piaget, because as much as we are talking about equilibration when it comes to Piaget, Vygotsky agrees. He says there is a point of the child coming into an understanding of new content, the unknown becoming the known. He calls it the zone of proximal development. It is exactly the same as equilibration, accommodation, adaptation, assimilation. It is when the child comes into a point where, okay, I did not know this. I did not know that a cat is not only black. There are different types of cats. There are different types of breeds of cats. There are different types of breeds of dogs. There's not only just a Dalmatian. There's also a bulldog, for example. Okay, so when you look at the zone of proximal development, it is when there is an extension of the child's knowledge. All right. Moreover, when we are looking at Vygotsky, his theory pays a lot of emphasis on language. Also, Vygotsky, language is the one tool that plays a role of telling you how far the child has developed. So if a child is able to capture and grasp and speak in a certain way, that is when you know, I can tell that there is so much knowledge in their head, and this is where they're moving forward with the knowledge that they have grasped. Whether they've grasped the right knowledge or not, whether they can be shaped into knowing even better knowledge than what they know or not, is seen through language. Okay, and then what are the implications? The implications of Vygotsky's theory is the fact that you as a teacher have to establish opportunities for children to learn with the teacher and more skilled peers. So when you're in the classroom, your role as a teacher is not to lead in the classroom, but your role is to facilitate. You are there to scaffold. You are there to provide and manage dialogue. You are there to provide language skills. You are there to use the tools of culture. What are the tools of culture? You are there to use the tools of culture, meaning that whatever you are teaching in the classroom, you bring it into the child's context. if the child comes from a community whereby the majority they are Christian, you use the tools of that culture. You know God likes this, right? So good children will listen to the teacher because God likes good children. Yes, because when you use those tools of the culture, the learners are able to relate to what you are teaching them. They're able to relate to your materials, to your lesson plan. It is when you are able to take the social context of the learner and bring it in the classroom. Not only are you the one to scaffold them, but you are also to suggest how you open up a bridge of children interacting in the classroom in order for them to develop in a well-paced and balanced setting for them in the classroom. That is all we have for Vygotsky, and if you have more questions, feel free to drop your comments. Okay, Bronfman Brenner says that, okay, Vygotsky, you are right. Social constructivism is true. Definitely a child needs to learn ngobonela.
So what is?